afternoon, and welcome to season two of the Royalty Talk Show. I am super excited to have you on here. I'm sorry, I'm just making sure that Instagram is with us. I'm super excited that I have you on here, and oh Lord, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Today we get to chat in the Royal Courts about the art of parenting. I know, the art of parenting. So do me a huge favor, grab a friend, let them know that Royalty Talk Show is on. Let them know that the topic today is going to be spicy. But also let them know that it's season 2 of the Royalty Talk Show. Season 2. And I'm super excited. So I'll see you in a few minutes right here on the Royalty
Get
Talk.
ready for the Royalty Talk Show with host Portia Basham, the podcast designed for women who are looking to be inspired, motivated, and encouraged. Whether you're just starting out in your career or raising a family, the Royalty Talk Show has something for you. This is your opportunity for empowerment and affirmation. Get blessed with amazing stories from women of all walks of life who want to share their truths and victories and impact the lives of women everywhere. This is your cordial invitation to join us as we sip tea, chat, and empower each other on the Royalty Talk Show and podcast with your host, Portia Basham.
Welcome. And if you are new here, I want to say welcome to the Royalty Talk Show. You know what we are all about. It's a Friday. This is where you grab your lunch, you grab your cup of tea, you grab me, and we sit down and we chat in the Royal Courts. Why? Because it is the time when we talk about everything that encompasses us as women. This is where we talk about our family, our friendship, our faith, our finances, the things that fulfill us in life and the things that do not. Okay, we've been anticipating 2023 for a very long time. So let me say, Happy New Year. Let me say I send hugs and kisses, and I'm going to just continue to tag and share as we go through. So if you have not sent through this notifications to your friends and let them know that we are here, do that for me, please, because I do not want them to miss the opportunity to learn from the Royal Courts what we're going to talk about today. For those who are parents, for those who are grandparents, for those who are auntie and them, you need to know about the art. Yes, I said it right, the art of parenting. Yes, there is an art to it. People just think that you give birth to children and you raise them nilly-nally. No, you don't. You know why? Because these little people eventually grow to be men and women who become husbands and wives and people in society, and you want to make sure you're doing a right job. I don't think God has given us the mandate to raise his little people in this world just for us to do it nilly-nally. I strongly believe that God has given us that mandate because he trusts that we would do it right. So, as way of introduction, was I am just tagging and sharing with everybody, go ahead and do the same. Let them know. Come on. You can't keep this to yourself, okay? I am sending it to everybody. All right, there we go. So I think we have shared one more sharing. Let me make sure I send it to my mom because mommy may want to join in on the conversation that we are having today about parenting. Because all our parenting skills, we learn that from our parents. I just want you to know that. So, as way of introduction, I am Dr. Portia Basham. Yes, you heard it right. It is a done deal. I am Dr. Portia Basham. Oh, come on. Good day, ladies. Good day, and Happy New Year, Pat. Reverend Pat, I send my hugs and kisses as always. So I am super excited, okay? So welcome to the Royalty Talk Show. Welcome to the Royal Courts. Grab your lunch, grab your cup of tea, and grab me and let us chat. So you know what we're all about. We're all about teaching and empowering and giving you the affirmations that you need to be who God's called you to be right here in this world. The word of God says, let the kingdom of God be up in the heavens, on earth as it is in the heavens. So therefore, God is expecting us to enjoy life. But let's make sure we enjoy it the way God intended us to. So We know what it's all about. It is about where we come together and just have this time for us to talk about the things that bother us, the things that are on our mind that nobody's talking about, the elephants in the room. So, I am your host, Dr. Portia Basham. I am your brand and business strategist, your 3-time best-selling author, an international speaker, and a minister of the gospel. And I am the founder of She Ministries. She Ministries is the online community for the leading ladies of royalty as yourself. This is where we come together and we chat about how we could balance life, business, and in the process, take those scars, those things that bother us, those secret struggles, and figure out a way to heal in the process. Because you can't do it by yourself. Come on, baby. You can't do it by yourself. But one of the things that I enjoy doing the most, is I enjoy working with ladypreneurs as yourself. I help you to unleash that inner boss lady quality. I help you to create that life that you desire and help you to transform your business, your life into what God called you to do according to biblical principles. Okay. So today's topic, all right, continue to tag and share. Come on, baby, tag and share. And let me know. I have people watching now. So let me know where you're viewing in from. Happy New Year. Send me some hugs and kisses. I want to see some hearts going up because let me tell you, I am pumped. This morning I got up and I was like, woe is me. And then I remembered that my ladies are going to show up with their pearls and their cup of tea. So I can't afford to be a woe is me today. You see what my cup says? Hell, ladyship. We got things to talk about, baby. St. Lucia is in the house. Listen, that's my hometown. St. Lucia is in the building. Happy New Year. I send kisses, Tamika. Tamika is going to get me all snatched for the year, okay? Tamika is the one who is going to do all my juicing. Yes, she is. She does juicing, ladies. I'm going to brag about her after the show. But she does a great job with putting the juices together. And you get to, if you are in the Fort Lauderdale area and Coral Spring area, you get to order those juices and actually be on that health journey along with me. So, hey to Tamika. We have Hortensia in the house. Horty! I send kisses. Happy New Year. Yes, from the island of St. Lucia, baby. We are in charge today. Okay, so let me just give you a little quick hint of St. Lucia, and then I maybe will run through a small snippet of St. Lucia's ad so you could see the beautiful island of St. Lucia. So St. Lucia is my original island that I'm from. And I remember, and Hortensia could correct me, I think Oprah Winfrey put it on her bucket list. You have to visit because of our Twin Piton mountains. And guess what? An hour drive through Sulphur Springs. So you need to visit it. When I am putting this group together, we are going on a retreat and we are going to go and sit down and zen away on the island of St. Lucia. Come on, ladies. Whoop, whoop. I'm in it for it. So because Hortensia and a few of my other lady friends are from St. Lucia, I'm going to do the best thing here. Hortensia, because that is so true. Come on, baby. So I'm going to run a small ad from our tourist board of St. Lucia, and you could see that beautiful island of St. Lucia.
She's been watching, wondering, waiting for the sands of time to give way to a tide of change, when her seas can provide safe harbor to all who reach her shores, and her earthly embrace can soothe your soul. Let her sense of adventure set you free, and her everlasting stars twinkle in your honeymoon skies. She is St. Lucia. Let her inspire you.
Listen to me. I saw the video and I wanted to go home. Okay, I want to go home. So yes, we are going to get it together. I think by the mid of the year, we are going to put together a lovely retreat to go over to St. Lucia and have us some rest and relaxing time. Hortensia is going to be able to help us do that. Right, Horty? Oh yeah, Reverend Pat, save your coins. We're going. We are going to see Nicola in St. Lucia. Okay, so let's get down to why we are here. We are here to chat about the art of parenting. Now, I was raised in the Caribbean, so the whole way of parenting in the Caribbean. Yes, total. Yes, we are going hotty. So the whole art of parenting in the Caribbean is different from what I've learned, what I've seen, in my opinion, over here in the States. Parenting is different. Everybody thinks, think differently. But I want to let you in on the way I see things when it comes to parenting. Number one, I believe that if God gave us the opportunity to be parents, that means He's entrusting us, number one, to raise the children right. Because the Word of God says to train up a child in the way they should go. And that way they will not lean away from it. They will always have in the back of their minds the things that you've taught them. Now, some of us have had traumas based on the way we were raised. Okay. So there are things that we've gone through that were traumatic. We don't want to, transfer that kind of thing onto our kids. However, we have people who say, oh, I want to give my children everything I did not have. That's okay. I want to be able to lavish my child with anything, that's okay. But we have to understand that when we are raising children, when we are training children, we are not raising children for ourselves, but we are raising children for society. And my aunt, I remember talking to my aunt once, let me tell you, my Aunt Myrna is the best. But I remember I was talking to my aunt, and before I had children, and one of the things that I said to her was, I am not looking forward to having children if they are going to turn out to be rude and disrespectful. And one of the things she said to me is, number one, Portia, you must understand, you are not, no two children are alike. That's number one. She said that to me. No two children are alike. Number two, remember, you are raising children for society. You're not raising children for yourself. And that was what really made me say, okay, I am ready to be a parent, because it made me now look at it differently. If we keep doing just thinking about, well, I allow my children to say what they want, when they want, how they want, do what they want, then you are really not giving them structure. Children work best with structure. Why I say that? Because when you go out into the world, there is structure, there's policies, there are guidelines that need to be followed. And if you are not training your children from now to follow guidelines and rules and regulations from the house, how will they follow guidelines and rules and regulations out in the world? How will they listen to the police? How will they listen to the doctors? How will they listen to the people they work with? And as you understand, there are consequences to every action. We have to teach our children that. So parenting, I believe, is both an art and a science. Yes, they could cause you to drink. Children could cause you to drink, and I'm not meaning a cup of tea. They could cause you to take a sip without even realizing you are. I have 2 boys, so I know. However, parenting requires patience, dedication, willingness to continue to learn and to grow with your child. I will let you know that when I was growing up, that patience, dedication, and willingness to continue to learn and grow with your child, I don't think our parents had that kind of statement at the age. Our parents were too busy working. Our parents were too busy making sure that we had clothes on our bodies and food on the table. But at the same time, they taught you how to be respectful. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. They taught you how to not talk back. You listen. How many? Reverend Pat said a couple of sips. She raised 2 girls. Listen, a couple of sips indeed. But our parents always took the time to teach. Hortensia, anybody from the Caribbean, who would have talked back to their parents? Your parents put food on the table. I will tell you now, you don't have the time to come and say, I'm not eating this. I don't like this. Why are we eating this? Listen, the smack you would have got across your face for just the statement. And then they would call. You would never, there you go, you would never look at your parents and give your parents some rude remark or tell them off. Never. And here's the next thing I will tell you. When we were growing up, we were very mindful of what our parents would think of us if we did something wrong. We were very mindful of the consequences of our actions. I notice children nowadays, they have no concept of what consequences are. Because parents say, I will discipline you for doing something wrong, and then they never discipline the child. They never discipline the child. How could the child take you seriously if you are not a woman of your word? Listen, this morning I was reading and listening at the same time to a teaching. And one of the questions somebody in the audience asked was, well, if God is so loving, why was he so harsh to Adam and to Eve when they ate from the tree? Okay, that was the question. And the preacher at the time answered the question saying, well, let's think about it for a minute. God made you, Adam, from dirt. And he said to you, you could have dominion. You could eat of everything in this world, excepting this tree. That was rules and regulations. Come on now. Rules, regulations. You could do everything except. And you with your bright self went and eat from the one thing I told you do not do. Come on, I need you to talk to me. Rules and regulations, rules and policies. Come on. And you went and eat from the one tree. And you figure because he was loving and kind, he's supposed to just come and say, little Adam, I'm so disappointed that you ate from the tree. I'm just going to let you, let this one chance pass by. And then you are going to, you'll be all right. No, he said, if you eat from the tree, you shall surely die. But let me tell you what happened. God could have smite them, squashed them, be done with them. But no, you know what God did? He spared their life, got them clothes to put on their backs. Oh, come on, somebody. Got them clothes to put on their backs, right? The one thing he said do not do, they did. And he still spared their life. He put clothes on their backs. He showed them, listen, go out. And let me tell you something. When you go out there, I'm even going to help you spare yourself, because the child, the male child of the woman is going to do everything else, okay? He gave them a way to even counteract. And yet this person said, if God was so loving, why did he put Adam and Eve out of the house? And I say in house, but you know what I mean, because now I'm all jacked up from children. But listen to me and listen to me well. This is exactly the same thing that goes on in your house. Your child did something wrong. And instead of disciplining your child, you are going to let the child, you're going to look at this child and say, well, I'll let it pass this time. How many of us, when we say to our children, don't let me repeat it 3 times. If I repeat it the 3rd time, you're in trouble. And then you sit down there repeating it the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th time. I don't have all those times to repeat it. I repeat it once. I said it today. I repeat it again. The 3rd time, you're in trouble. I'm sorry. It's on. You lose everything. I'm not about to say, oh, you lose the privilege to do this, that, and that. No, you lose everything. No privileges. Because think about it. Your children that are busy, being rude and being unmannerly and saying, oh, I don't believe you did this to me. Baby, think about it. Mommy said, don't do. And you still did. You still be able to come home and get a full hot meal. You get 3 meals a day. You get a warm bed to sleep in. You get clothes on your back. You get water to drink. You get all those privileges, but because I pulled all those other privileges of electronics and things like that, you call me the worst parent in the world, baby. You haven't seen the worst parent yet. We have to be serious about that. We have to be serious. I listen to children. I mean, you go into a store, every time you go into a store, you see a 3-year-old throwing a full-fledged tantrum because they didn't get a toy. And instead, the mother takes control over it. The mother is like, all right, all right, all right. What it is do you want? Come on, people. I call it an honor and a privilege to be raising children, because that is what God figured he could entrust you with them. Come on now. A lot of us are saying we do not want our children to go through the things we've gone through. But I want you to understand the things that you've gone through is what build character, is what builds you into who you are. How could you give your child everything in the world without them working for it? Without them earning it? How will they respect the value of $1? I'm not saying don't give your kids stuff. I'm not saying don't spoil them when necessary. What I'm saying is we have to always teach them the right and the wrong. We teach them consequences. We teach them. Because it's a rude awakening when you send your children to college and then they realize that the things they would have gotten away with under your roof is not what they could get away with when they are over there. You got to teach your children how to understand what a friend. It's not because somebody smiled with you that they're your friend. And we see the way the world goes around when it comes to friends. We have to teach our children that. Not everybody that laughs and talk with you are your friends. When you were growing up, you had two sets of groups in your life. Your group of friends and your acquaintances. Your acquaintances was way bigger than your friends because your friends were few people, trusted people that were around you all the time, that knew you. Do you take the time to teach your children the difference between friends and acquaintances? Come on now, talk to me. I want to hear from you. What do you think we are missing when it comes to parenting? What is it that we should be implementing when it comes to parenting? I will tell you, there are 2 books in the world that you never get. When you get married, you never get a book that says about married life. Or the problems I went through in my marriage, you try to avoid. You never get a book on that. And then number 2, you never get a book on parenting that says the things I did that did not work out and the things I wish I did. I think I'm going to write a book on that. And my children are like, 14 and 12. They're not even full grown yet. But nobody gives you a book. The first thing that your parents tell you when you come and you say to them, oh, mommy, you did this, or daddy, you did this. They go, listen, and nobody give me a book about parenting. I just had to wing it. And to this date, everybody who becomes a parent is just winging it. Everybody who becomes a parent is just winging it. Everybody who gets married is just winging it. But guess what? The word of God says the older teach the younger. I remember a story. And then we are going to get into the points of, we are going to get into the 4 points that are essential for parenting. I remember a story, and I want you to listen to it very well. One day, this girl's mother, there was this big family reunion, and this girl's mother is cooking in a pot. And she noticed the mother broke the legs of the chicken to put into the pot. And she stood up there and she says, parrot, yes. She says, why did you break the legs of the chicken to put into the pot? And guess what the mother said? I'm not sure. I think it's because well, I don't know. I mean, I saw my mom do it. And then they asked her mom, which is the grandmother, and the grandmother said, well, I saw my mom did it. And then I saw my great grandmother did it. And then they asked the great grandmother, and the great grandmother said, I saw my mother do it. You see how many generations that is? She said, I saw my mother do it. But nobody realized that the reason why the great grandmother's mother did it was because the pot was too small for the chicken. So that she cut the legs for the chicken to fit into the pot. But this tradition has been handed down for generations based on seeing. They saw the mother do it. They saw the mother do it. They saw the mother do it. And it just went on for that. But nobody realized the reason why the great grandmother's mother did it was because the pot was too small. I say all of that to say, nobody has a book on parenting because no two parents are the same. I get it. But there is an art to it. I believe, number one, we need to spend time with our children, know our children. That's important. If you know your child, then you know what your child is not capable of. You know when your child is telling a tale. You know when it is to embrace them and when it is to teach them. Spend time with your children. Laugh with them. I could be very stern when I make up my mind. And there are times I have to remind myself, yes, you are a parent. Yes, you are the mother, but remember, you want to be able to still be that nurturing mother. I pray to God every day, God, teach me how to be the mother. Teach me how to be the teacher. Teach me how to be the loving parent. Because I could be stern every day. And then there are times I have to remind myself that they're still my kids. And I still have to be able to be open enough that they could come and talk to me. They're open enough to trust where you're talking about and not badger them in the process. I mean, that's hard for me because if you come and you say to me, Mommy, this boy was doing this and that, and I'm like, which boy? Oh yeah, I'm like a mama bear that's always ready to fight for her cubs, okay? But then there are times I have to be the loving parent that just listens to their heart, listens to what bothers them. One day, my son, my youngest, Master Jed is like talking to a 25-year-old in a 12-year-old body. He says, Mommy, I love the way you parent me. When I have kids, I'm bringing them to you for sure. But there are times I want to be able to talk to you without you judging or telling me, making me feel like I shouldn't have said it. Now, I don't know. That's tough because... But I understand where he was coming from. So yes, number one, we need to spend time with our kids. Make sure we carve out that time to hear them, ask them about their day. Make sure we carve out that time to read a book, watch a movie. And sometimes watching a movie is the time you choose to teach something. You teach them something within that time frame. Quality time. The next thing we need to do when it comes to our children, the art of parenting, set boundaries. Okay, let me just go to the comments for a minute. Pat says, I made sure my daughter knew the difference. They are just like me as an adult, only a couple of close friends each that go back to middle school. Yes, we have to teach our children the art of what it is to have a friend and what it is to have acquaintances. My friends are far and few in between. I maybe could count them on one hand. And if I call you a friend, baby, consider that to be a privilege. Because in my mind, there are more acquaintances. You know of me, I know of you. That's an acquaintance. I speak to my acquaintances. Hey, how are you? What's going on? How's your family? But that doesn't mean that you are in my circle. I remember TD Jakes said it the best. He said, for me to have a friend, I got to spend time investing time into you, to learn about you, to learn about your family, to give you an ear. There are some ladies in my life that I spend time talking to. Because why? Because you are my friend. Not every no, your acquaintance cannot just have the free will to talk with you any point in time. You gotta have boundaries, and that's where we come into set boundaries. You have to set boundaries as a parent, and that's important. Set boundaries as a parent, and that starts from a very early age. You want them to understand what behaviors are acceptable and which ones aren't, and while still allowing them enough freedom to explore what their interests are. But then you gotta set boundaries. I see people talk to, let children say things and then they let it slide. Yeah, but baby, what you laugh at 3 years old, when that grown child starts to say it, it doesn't sound funny anymore. You got to curve that in an early stage. My oldest is on the spectrum, but I did not. Welcome, baby girl. Thank you. I know you're not a parent, but let me tell you, you're still an auntie, maybe, okay? But I want you to understand that I did not raise him, using the fact that he's on the spectrum as a handicap for him and say, oh, I'm not going to, teach him right from wrong because he's on the spectrum, so he'll be all right. Oh, he could just throw tantrums anyway. No, from day one, I taught Zach what is and what is not. I taught him what mommy doesn't accept and what mommy will accept. Why? Because God forbid God calls me out of this world and my son is left into this world. I want people to say, I love to work with Zach because he's well-mannered. He understands what I'm talking about. He's not going to disrespect me. I said to Zach, I don't have a problem in you throwing a tantrum. Everybody throws a tantrum. But your tantrums need to be short and few in between. Get it together. Calm your own self down. And one day the teacher called and the teacher said, I saw Zach count himself down. Calm self. But that's a learned behavior. So you set boundaries. Come on, tell me I'm right. What are the boundaries you set for your kids? Don't just go opening any door in the house just like that. Don't come and just open my bedroom door. Are you kidding me? No, knock. If I want you in the room, I will let you know. One of my pet peeves is I ask a question and you did not hear me and you go, what? Mm-mm. What happened to I beg your pardon? Excuse me, could you repeat yourself? One day, my kids were like 3 and 5, I think, because they were 2 years apart, so 3 and 5. And I had a new babysitter. And the babysitter was in her 60s, maybe mid-60s. So introducing them to the babysitter, I said, okay, Zach and Jed, this is let's just call her Pauline. This is Miss Pauline. We could call her Auntie Pauline because she's going to be the one to babysit you going forward. This is Pauline. I don't know nobody calling me Auntie Pauline or Miss Pauline. It's Pauline. No. My kids are going to respect elders. Miss, Auntie, Mrs., Doctor. But we are not going to call anybody by their first name. Now, I will be quite honest with you. I have lost friends along the way when they figured there was nothing wrong with their little 2 and 3-year-old calling me by my first name. You cannot do that. Don't get it twisted. We're not friends like that. We're not related like that. When you were growing up, everybody was auntie and uncle. Okay? If not auntie and uncle, ma'am, miss, sir. You don't disrespect elders. You don't talk back to elders. Manners is number one. It sure is. Yes. Don't look at me and no. It is auntie. And she, listen, I had to let her go that very day because I'm like, no, my kids cannot call you by your first name. And if you see there is nothing wrong with your 3-year-old calling me by my first name, then we have a problem. Because my children don't call you by your first name. It's respect. It is all about respect. Do you know how great it feels when you go somewhere and somebody opens the door and says, "Good day, ma'am. May I help you?" Other than going into a store and the person goes, "What do you want today, sweetie? What do you want? What do you want?" Where is the respect? Where is the what do you call that? I'll tell you the word I'm looking for. What is the word? What is the word? The pride. There, that's the word. The pride. So anyway, let's really back. So number one, we spoke about spending time with your kids. And we are looking now at the art of parenting. And then we are diving into the 4 essential things that we should take into consideration. Spending time with the kids. Number 2, setting boundaries. Okay, letting them know the do's and don'ts of life. Simple. The do's and the don'ts of life. Teach them respect. Teach them respect is number 3. Oh, teaching respect people is essential. Respect yourself, respect others, respect authority figures, respect parents and teachers. I have heard and seen some kids say things to parents, and I am just waiting to see if their front teeth are still intact. Because when we were growing up, the first thing our parents used to say if you disrespect them was they were going to take a 2 for 2. And I remember I told that to my youngest son. He said something and I said, "Boy, you're about to lose a 2 for 2. And then he goes like this. "But why the teeth though? I don't understand. Why take the teeth?" He missed the mark completely. But what I'm saying is teaching our kids respect. Listen, Samara, this boy, it went completely over his head. He's like, "But why the teeth though? I don't understand. Why would you take the teeth though?" But teaching our kids respect is important. It is not just for us, but it is for society. Oh, yes, this generation, listen, they're so busy being in the technological things that they have no people skills. They have no time to learn how to be social. When we were growing up, we had to be social. That's what we had. And because now our kids spend so much time in front of a computer, we have to make sure we teach our children that when you do come in contact with another human being, this is how it's supposed to be. Respect. Teach them respect. Respecting those boundaries will help set your child on the right path in life by giving them clear expectations of what behavior is accepted and is not. What behavior is accepted in home and what behavior is accepted outside. The things you could tell somebody on the inside of your doors is not what you will tell somebody on the outside. Oh, hi, how are you? Mwah! Lacking human, listen, they do lack human relations. They do. They are so busy calling everybody my friend on Facebook because somebody's following them. Hello. And then when they eventually meet the person face to face, they have no idea what to say, what not to say. So teaching respect is important. Respect. Right there with manners, right there with setting boundaries, right there with setting time to talk with them. When I was younger, and your mother says, get ready for school the next day, okay? Or even at the end of vacation, you get ready for school. The things you did was this, okay? You made sure your bag was properly packed. Your bag was clean, the inside and the outside. Your socks and shoes were put together. You made sure your shoes were clean, socks were clean, underwears were clean. Come on, Caribbean people, talk to me. Your mother would give you a basin to sit down with your underwears and socks and you wash. Okay? Your uniform clothes were properly ironed. And you set that in a closet, nicely put. So on a morning, when you were ready, guess what you did? You knew exactly what uniform with what and what. Miss Matilda says, anger is the order of the day in both. Oh, listen. I said to my youngest son, are you ready for school tomorrow? Which was the beginning of the week. He said, yeah, I think everything is there. No. Have you cleaned your shoes? Do you make sure that you have socks in the drawers for the days of school? Do you make sure your clothes is washed and ironed? Hey, mommy, we need to throw a lot of clothes in the wash. If you don't give your children responsibility, how would they be responsible for themselves when they go to college? I need you to talk to me. We are responsible for raising the men and women that are going to be husbands and wives and how do you call that? Friends and workers in society. We are raising the next generation. Every time we give birth, we're not giving birth just children. We are giving birth to the next generation of the world. And every single time a generation comes into the world, guess what? Something gets dropped. Something gets left behind. And they say, oh yeah, that was in this person's generation, but not in mine. Every single time. For those who are married, look at your husbands. If your husbands are giving problems, that's just what their mother raised. If your husband is well-mannered and perfect, that's what their mother raised. Whenever anybody gives problems in this world, you know what's the first thing they say? Who's their mother? Did their mother do that? Let me tell you, you could raise these children the best of your ability, and they choose the path they want to choose, and somebody's still going to blame the parent. I want you to tell me if I'm correct. Come on, let me know. Am I right? Am I right? You could lay out the red carpet for these little people. And these little people are going to come out whatever way they want to come out. And the first thing they're going to say is, who's this boy's mother again? Who's this girl's mother? Who's this girl's father? Who's this girl's... They're going to come right back to the parents. So all I'm saying is, as parents, baby, let's just do it right in the first place. Yes, these children make their own decisions no matter what you have spent the time to teach them. So just imagine if you did not teach them a thing. Just imagine if you did not teach them a thing. What becomes of the men and women of society? Okay. There. What becomes of the men and women of society? Okay. Listen. Let's see what. Let's see. Miss Matilda says, you're so right. The forces out there can be so strong. It is important to give them strong foundation. That's it. Because if from day one, remember what the word of God says, if you train up a child in the way he should go, they will not depart from it. No matter how you train up a child the right way, they're still going to you taught them manners, they're still going to have it. They're going to sway to the left, but they will still have the manners. They will still have this. They will still have that. You have to give them that foundation. You cannot just let them be nilly-nally. A 3-year-old child, and you're giving the child the option to choose what haircut they're going to have, and then the child chooses. I saw this walk through Facebook yesterday. This lovely little 3-year-old, the mother gave her the opportunity to choose a hairstyle, and she decided to have the barber cut all her hair and do her hair exactly the way daddy has it, all faded down with no hair at 3 years old. Who does that? And then you have the nerve to say, well, she made her decision. That's too young to give that child that kind of authority over her life. How you mean? No. We need to teach our children the boundaries. Hey, this is what it is. This is the consequences of your action. A lot of the times we don't teach them that consequences of the action. You disrespect me, there is a consequence to that. The consequence might be I smack the life out of you. Hey, I'm Caribbean. Don't play with me. I'm a different parent. I don't have the time to explain. Or you lose all your privileges and trust. I could stretch the privilege losing very far. I'm not God. The word of God says, do not spare the rod and spoil the child. There's certain things I'll spoil you on, especially our young men, so they could take care of their families. Exactly. So if you do not train them properly, how will they take care of their families? Thank you. Just as God gives us boundaries, we need to do the same for our children. Come on. Think about it. The story I told you. The question the person had to the pastor was, if God is so loving, why was he so harsh towards Adam and Eve? He wasn't harsh towards Adam and Eve. Are you kidding me? He said, if you eat from it, you'll surely die. He still spared their life, baby. If you say to, and here's one more thing before we wrap it up. I remember my neighbor once said to me, my kids were really young by then. My neighbor said to me, how do you give your kids, how could you communicate to your kids what's going to happen or what's happening without saying a word? She said, how do you do that? You give them a look that says you're in trouble, or you give them a look that says you need to come over here. And then it's like as if they could read an entire conversation on your face. But let me tell you something. Think about it. If your kids are in danger, and you need to be able to communicate to your kids that something is going on without saying a word, but have them to trust that they need to find themselves next to you, on the other side of you. You have to be able to communicate to your kids without saying a word. Girl, I know how to give my kids the look that says, yes, he does chasten who he loves, and so will you. Yes, you have to. Listen, I said to my sons, if I say cross the street, don't ask me why, don't ask me when, don't ask me, well, what's going on? I said cross the street. If I say run, don't ask me what we're running for before you run. Ask me when we get to the destination what we run for. and then I'll tell you. Because there are times you do not have time to explain. I see parents, let me tell you, you know what's the most disrespectful thing for me? I'd be talking to the person, all of a sudden their children join in the conversation, and then they forget they're talking to me, and then they start talking to their children about the conversation they were having talking to me. What kind of story is that? You got to teach your children. If I'm talking, you cannot join the conversation. This is adult conversation. You have to say, excuse me, mommy, can I ask a question? And then the parent looks at me like as if I'm overreacting. I'm not overreacting. It's respect. Okay. So parenting is never easy. Let's put it together. Parenting is never easy, but it's also one of life's greatest rewards. And that's what they say. You know, they say all the time, have a child. When are you having a baby? As soon as you get married, when you're having a baby, when you have a baby. Oh my God. And then when you have a baby, they fail to tell you, you got to raise that baby. Being able to watch your child grow into a confident individual with strong morals. How would they get strong morals? Who respects themselves and others, how would they do that if you don't teach them and train them? And as a mother, you want nothing more than your child's happiness. So make sure you take the time each day, no matter how busy, no matter how complicated. Just take the time for you and your children to talk. To this date, I still talk to my mother every morning. I talk to her every morning. Hey, what's up? What's going on? What's your day like? I talk to her every morning. I still talk to my mother every morning. Now, do I always have the time every morning? No. I put it on and I'm talking to her, but whilst I'm talking to her, I'm preparing breakfast, I'm making the beds, I'm doing whatever it is. But I have given her the time to, hey, talk to me. How are you doing? What's going on? Let's converse. If you take the time to pour into your children, yes, communication is very important. If you take the time to pour into your children, what you pour into them is what's going to come out. If you do not take the time to pour into them, somebody else on the outside is going to come and pour into them what they want to pour into them. Yes. I'm so sorry for your loss. You see, Reverend Pat says she lost her mom in 2008 and she still misses those conversations. You see what I mean? If you do not take the time to point to your children and point them the right way, teach them the right from wrong, somebody else on the outside is going to point to them, and they're going to point to them the things that you do not want them to know. It's better you explain to them what it is before the world explains it to them. I'll give you a good example. And we're going to wrap up with that. When my son, the youngest, Master Jed, was in preschool, I met a lot of the parents. Why? Because a lot of the parents wanted to meet Jed's mother. Because each parent would come to me like this and say, my daughter or my son came and said to me, no one would play with me, no one would talk to me. And then Jed would come over and say, it's okay, I'll play with you. It's okay, I'll talk to you. So I just wanted to meet you to say, thank you for raising a well-mannered child, a well-behaved child, a child that was prepared to see beyond what other people were seeing in my child. Jed was 3 years old in one of the preschools, and there was a little boy, which I'm not even joining that conversation, was dressed as a little girl, 3 years old. And everybody else, he wanted to play with dolls, and everybody else found it odd, so they made fun of him. So the boys made fun of him and went to play with their toys, and the girls found it odd that he wanted to play with dolls. So Jed, in the middle of 20-something children in a class, went over to this boy who was playing with a doll in a corner by himself and said, listen, I tell you what, I'll sit with you. You play with your doll. I'm going to just play with my truck, but I'll sit with you so you wouldn't be alone. That brought me to tears the day the teacher, the parent, and my son told me that. 3 years old. But to him, he wanted to make sure that the little boy was not outcast, wasn't, didn't feel alone. Fast forward to middle school. He came home one day and he said to me, there was a boy in the class is 30 plus students. And there's a boy in the class and I could see him fumbling to get stuff done. And he said, I'm sitting here with the boy, and let's just call the boy John. And I'm sitting with John, and John eventually said, oh, thank you for helping me, because he could see that the boy was trying to fumble through with his books and whatever. So he said, it's okay, come down, I'll help you put your books together. It's okay. And then the boy turns to my son and says to him, thank you for helping me. I have ADHD, whatever that, hyper thing is. And I tend to get all excited about stuff. And my son said to him, I would have never guessed that you have anything other than being a normal boy. I'll tell you what, you don't tell anybody, they won't even know the difference. You are doing just fine. And when my son told me, he told the boy that, and I'm sitting in the car and I'm trying to keep it together because I have a son that's on the spectrum that I would love to see somebody else take the time to be nice to him that way, to give him the help that he needs that way. And that's what we're doing. We are raising our children to be better men and women in society, to not be only concerned about my feelings and be concerned about what I think. And it's all about me. What about me? What about me? Because it's a rude awakening when they have to live life without you telling them every step of the way what to do. You got to teach them. Teach them the word of God. Teach them through God's eyes and through God's love. Teach them what your mother taught you, how to be respectful, how many of our kids know how to eat at a table with a knife and a fork? You go to a restaurant and not just lounge in a chair, but sit up in a restaurant. Put a napkin, the etiquette. How many of our kids know that? Let me tell you something. The word of God says the rain falls on the just and the unjust. That means it doesn't matter whether you are middle class, whether you are upper class. It doesn't matter. Children are children. Your responsibility is the same. Train them right. Teach them right. Work towards the fact that you want them to live a better life. But remember, every child that is brought into this world is brought into this world to be taught and trained so they could fit into society. So what are you going to do about it? How are you going to contribute to society through your children? How are you going to contribute to society through your children? I want when people come across both my children that they say, your mother taught you right. You are welcome. That your mother taught you right. It doesn't matter if your child is on the spectrum or not. Respect is respect. Boundaries are boundaries. Love is love. So, this has been a very sensitive and heavy topic to start off season 2 of the Royalty Talk Show. But it was something that I really had to bring to the table. I needed us to understand that we are not raising our children for us. So that brings us to the end of this episode, of the first episode of season 2. And I want to say thank you so much for joining me in the royal courts on this topic, the art of parenting, the art of the do's and the don'ts, the art of the difference in generation. But I pray that this episode was indeed beneficial to you. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I mean, I couldn't have done this program without you, the viewers, you who's coming here. Let me see what Miss Matilda, parents are too busy chasing material things. Yes, instead of investing in the children and their future as citizens and parents. Yes, that's true. The instant a child does something, the first thing we do is buy them stuff. You buy them. You want to apologize? You buy them stuff. How about just sitting down and speaking with them for a minute? Gone are the days, you say, hey, you want to go and do this? Then you need to make sure you do this, that in order to achieve this. We don't teach them the art of valuing things, the art of valuing time. So I really pray that this conversation was beneficial to all of you. And if you have not, you are welcome, Hortensia. Thank you for tuning in. And if you have not taken the opportunity to follow us on all our different platforms for the podcast, like Apple and Pandora. Hi, Miss Patty. I send you kisses. Happy New Year. If you haven't taken the time to follow us on those platforms, please do. If you are on Instagram, make sure you follow us on She Ministries Online and Portia Basham on Instagram. You are most welcome, Reverend Pat. I am honored to have you. I am indeed honored to have you. Miss Matilda said, instead of all these technologies, find time to sit and have discussions. Yes, discussions with your kids. And let me tell you the other thing too, that my husband said, which is so true. Before we used to teach I shouldn't say we used to, before they taught us how to, what they call that? Ooh, the word skipped my mind. What they call that again, Father? Not the pros and the cons, but the situations, how to, something thinking. Oh, Father, it slipped my mind. Something thinking. Come on, help me, ladies. Something thinking. Like problem solving. No, not debates, like problem solving. Oh, come on, Father, give me the word. But when I get the word, I'll let you know. But then they used to teach us how to do problem solving, more or less. Critical thinking. Yes, critical thinking. Yes, Miss Matilda, you got it. Critical thinking. That they used to teach us critical thinking. Well, if this happens, how would you come across? How would you fix it? How would you? They don't teach children critical thinking anymore. They don't give the children the ways of how to solve a problem. And that is important. Because every day as a parent, you have to start to think of how you solve you out in fires. Yes, it has replaced, critical thinking definitely has been replaced with technology. They don't even give them critical thinking problems in school anymore. Remember when you used to spend so much time trying to find the answer, and you have to show the teacher all the ways you found the answer. Now you have the calculator gives you the answer. Now you have to think of, well, how did they get the answer? So these are all the things that I would love for you as grandparents, as mothers, as aunties. Let us think of our children as men and women of society and how we could help them be better men and women of society. Men respect their wives because they respect their mothers. Women respect their husbands because they respect their fathers. How could they be better men and women in the world? The future generation really does depend. The future generation depends on us, how we raise them, what we pour into them. Don't go letting them leave the house with empty vessels. The enemy will find things to pour into that. No, you need to let them know who they are, whose they are. I say to my kids all the time, when you walk, even on my husband, I say that too. When you walk out the front door, you represent God, me, and the family. Now, God may be a little more lenient, but don't make me show up. That's all I'm saying. When you walk out through the door, you represent me and God. So So teach them to know who it is that because that way they are mindful of the things that's going to happen. They say, you know what? I'm not going to do this because of that. So I'm going to wrap it up for ladies. It was indeed an honor and a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for spending time with me. We're supposed to be doing this within a half an hour or 45 minutes, but this conversation was getting good, okay? So for those who are online who would like to be a featured guest on the Royalty Talk Show, go ahead and send me an email, info@portiabasham.com. And for those who would like to be a featured guest on the She Ministries TV show, go ahead and send me an email at info@portiabasham. And we also run ads on the program. So if you would like to get your ad on there, or if you'd like us to help you put a video ad together, which you could use on any platform, go ahead and send us a quick email, info@portiabasham, and we'd be more than happy to assist you. It was an interesting topic. Thank you so much, Miss Matilda. Oh, I send hugs and kisses your way as always. And I just want to say, if there's any way that you need us to help you in terms of your business, your branding, in terms of being a guest speaker on your platform, go ahead and visit us at portiabasham.com or send us a quick email, info@portiabasham. This is going to wrap up our chat for today. I want to thank you for joining me in the Royal Courts. It was indeed a pleasure to sit and to chat with you over a lovely cup of tea. And until next week, where we're going to meet in the Royal Courts once again. Oh, I wanted to make sure you see my t-shirt. We have those available. I will be posting a picture so that way you could know who did me that t-shirt. It's Step It into Your Destiny Boutique by Simara. And I'm going to put some more information about that. But she did the honors of our t-shirts. So if you'd like to also purchase your t-shirt, let me know. They are available for you in all sizes. But until next week, ladies, remember, 12 o'clock noon every Friday, we meet right here in the Royal Courts for the Royalty Talk Show. And I am super excited to spend time with you next week. But until then, I am Dr. Portia Basham. Yes, I am so proud of myself. I am Dr. Portia Basham. And don't forget, ladies, you are saved, highly favored, and empowered to do all what God has called you to do on this earth. Until then, you be blessed. And I send you hugs and kisses. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Royalty Talk Show with your host, Portia Basham, the talk show and podcast designed for women who are looking to be inspired, motivated, and encouraged. We pray today's show was a blessing to you. Remember to tune in next time for your regular dose of encouragement and affirmation, so you can hear from other amazing women from all walks of life who share their stories and advice on everything from personal growth to living their dreams. So until next